Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And now that we have the entire full meta released, I have done my summons and finished up Shizu. It is time to now go into Inferno 3 of the beatdown battle against Leon. 2.6 million HP, 13.3k defense, all of his little quirks and stuff, and we are just going to casually annihilate the stage with the full Overlord team as it was meant to be done. Now, we've done many videos leading up to this point, and we know that Albedo and Shoutier are not the most powerful options to make this team run. They are part of the meta, but they're not the end-all be-all. They could certainly be better, and there are just better options that exist outside. So it is with a grain of salt. But this is the full meta, so let's go ahead and start it up. Alright, well, thankfully, because everyone is Stern of Spirit now, the orb change for Nabe is at maximum power, right? So no matter whose orb it is, it can be changed. It's just that we will run into the unfortunate circumstance of not having another orb changer, because if you bring like Dark Milim, like she's doing quad duty, right? She's giving us permanent skill point gain on greens, which we're already getting with Rimuru. She's giving dark attack, well, attack to dark allies if she's skill fused. She's giving the alt buff, and she's orb changing. So she is a much better option to bring. But we can make it work with this team at the end of the day. And here it's going to be a very, very good showcase of us doing that here. So Albedo's going to go. She doesn't have any orbs anyway. We'll use a stack of this, and then we will reset these skills, use the blue orb change first to ensure that we change this and we can convert that orange and the blue at the same time. I think it would have been better if Shoutier didn't have Despair and she had that, that triple orb change plus the alt buff. I would have been more fine with that. Like, if you had left her first skill the same, it's not great, but it is still a fairly decent buff. But if you had just changed your stupid Despair skill to that fabled triple orb change that we were looking for, then that would have just made this team run a whole lot better and eliminated a lot of the probable incoming RNG that we're going to have during Jubilee. And they didn't do it. They didn't do it. They didn't make her generic enough. They didn't give her any lasting value. Very lucky with these starting hands, though, which I will definitely take. Despair. We'll use the alt swap, and then we'll reset all the skills on this hand. Then we'll bring in Albedo and Shoutier for their stacks of Despair, and we can get hopefully as much as possible here in the next 5 turns or so. So Shoutier can come in for Nabe. We'll do this. So this is the same Despair skill. She's rushing her own alt gauge by 30%, which... like, she's the AoE DPS, like, I guess, yeah, it's cool, but at the end of the day, I find it highly unnecessary, because of Albedo's skill, which is giving 50% extra alt gauge on greens, which already gives, a decent amount of alt gauge to begin with. Not as much as oranges, but that's not the point. I don't know, like, unless they're wanting us to rush, like, triple alts or something, it's gonna be really wonky. So turn 4, capped out on Protector, awesome. So let's go ahead and use this, and we'll use the alt swap again. We'll reset Albedo, and then we'll bring in Nabe and use her skills, and then reset her as well. So boom. We can safely keep using Shoutier's alt rush ability, because it doesn't really matter all that much. I mean, we do have the capability of stunning him here and not taking this alt, but I'm going to just move forward anyways. It's unnecessary points that I don't want to use. And I want to use more stacks of Despair and the orb changes. And if we were to do all of these, we would not have enough points to then use the stun. So here, and then... yeah, we'll reset both of these. It would leave us with 30 points, which we didn't have to use Shoutier's Despair. Like, we didn't have to. We could have foregone that and used the stun strike. That would have been just fine as well. But... hey, I'm living a dangerous life here, okay? So Ainz has an EX ult, Shizu almost has an EX ult. Shizu is pure damage, so she doesn't have any like ult effect that's going to help Ainz do more after she ults, unlike Shalltear, who's lowering magic resistance, which does make things easier for Ainz to nuke. Alright, so we're up to 7 stacks. We can still change that hand. So Despair, alt swap, we'll change and swap the skill, or well, not swap, but we'll reset the skills for Nabe. We'll use the blue orb again to ensure that the special convert hits those 2 oranges, and then we'll bring in the other 2 girls, and we will definitely now have enough points to use both their despairs, even at higher cost. So this Shalltear will give us almost, she's at 90% ult gauge now because we've used it 3 times. 30, 60, 90. Math works in mysterious ways, right? And we're up to 10 stacks of despair, so that's 50% ult resistance down now. And we have 2 EX ults plus an incoming Albedo ult. So we're looking really, really good. So 2.7 million HP doesn't mean jack crap if we're going to nuke you for 4 with Ainz and then 3 or something with Shizu. It doesn't really matter. Okay, here we are going to start stun locking him though, because Ainz is taking some hits and I could go without that, to be perfectly honest with you. So let's alt swap, let's stun strike, we'll put more despair on. We have a lot of points now. We only have to use one of the orb changes with Nabe now, and that's going to keep things real cheap. Yeah, we'll do that. I don't think we use the despair with Shalltear now. I find it kind of unnecessary, so we'll just do this. We could. Well, we could. We definitely have enough points to do it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's going to give her her own ult. And then, so 85... Right, yeah. We have enough to do that? At higher cost, 85? Yeah, okay, we will. So 13 stacks of despair. Nabe comes in, we'll use her special convert, and boom. And we're going to get all those points back. All those points are about to come right back in our face. Going into turn 7, we're not going to get any protection gauge from anybody. But we will get a double stack on turn 8. So, alright, that looks like a pretty good hand to me. Let's do some more despair, let's do another alt swap. And I think we'll just run the hand like this. We're not going to bring the other 2 girls in and ruin our synergy because we already used the alt swap here. And then we'll go ahead and reset Nabe again. So we're going to end probably around 16 or so stacks of despair, which I think is reasonable on this team. If you wanted to push to turn 9, you certainly could. There's no reason you couldn't. He doesn't really gain anything on turn 9. I think it's turn 10 and beyond where he really starts to buff himself up. And also, you can't lower him down to 25% HP or he's going to heal like a literal butt ton. But turn 8, and we are ready to go. So, we'll bring Shalltear in for Nabe. Boom. We'll use her alt buff. Boom. And then we'll bring in Albedo. And yeah, we are not going to use Shalltear's despair. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Yeah, we wouldn't have had enough points anyways, so. What are we at? So stun, despair. Boom, despair. 16 stacks of despair. 2 more stacks of Rimuru. And we'll check out our numbers before we nuke. And I'm fairly certain we could nuke with Shizu and we could just straight up kill. And I kind of want to, now that I have that 120 Shizu, just for funsies, and then if she does end up killing, we'll come back with the same kind of run, and then we'll nuke with Ainz, just to get an idea of how much damage he's doing versus what my 120 Shizu. So, let's take a look at Shizu, because she's going to be our first nuke. So she is at 9 stacks of Rimuru, pretty good. 9% crit damage from the Rimuru trait, guaranteed crit, the stun strike, the weakness strike, the 80% alt buff, plus the EX alt, and then we have 80% defense down, 50% alt resistance down from Shizu, and then 80% alt resistance down from the Despair stacks. So we're looking at 130% alt down, 80 defense down. Alright, well, let's go ahead and let's turn the alt animation on for Shizu, because it is a very good looking alt. Albedo I don't think has an effect. Oh, she does raise it to allies attack by 5%. How much health do you have? 2.1? Let's send Albedo first. And hopefully I don't think she's gonna kill. I don't think she's gonna kill. That being a hypothetical, right? So Albedo and her fairly basic ult. Both Albedo and Shoutier have pretty basic ults, unfortunately. Albedo's does look better than Shoutier's. The Berserk Hell Axe. And we do 500,000. Okay, not nearly as much as I thought we were going to do. Shizu should do quite a bit. And now we have that extra 5% attack as the side effect from having Albedo's ult happen first. And there's just so much going on here. And then T-pose. And we do 2 million. 2 million with Shizu, which, you know, is a lot. We could have done almost probably twice that with Ainz, because Ainz has the personal magic buff, and he's got type advantage. So that would feed directly into his extra weakness strikes. So we're going to run this back. We're going to come back on turn 8 with 9 stacks and the 16 stacks of despair, and then we will nuke with Ainz first and see how much that does. Now technically, if I wanted to, we could nuke with both Shoutier and Albedo and get both their effects on. I think that might be fun too. Let's do that for the second run. Alright, we are back. We're going to have, you know, the back up to 9 stacks, so we're at 70. We have 2 more to go here. We're at 15 stacks of despair, so this one last from Ainz will do it. And now this time, like I said earlier, we're going to actually send the Albedo and Shoutier ults first. I made sure they weren't EX ults, we did as little damage as possible. We're going to use all the big time buffs now up front here to ensure that, you know, sending 2 of those doesn't take them down too low or potentially kill. Like, we already know that they probably won't, but we're gonna, if we want this run to work, I need to guarantee that this is going to do what I want it to do. So, use Shizu's buff already, so she can come out. Nabe doesn't have a buff to use, so you can go away. So now we bring both of the Overlord girls in, and we'll use the Sunstrike, and then the alt buff. We technically could use 1 more stack of the... Actually, we could use 2 more stacks if we're going to reset them down, both down by 2 levels. But I want to keep the test and this, you know, this damage comparison relatively the same as what we're going to see from the previous run with just the Shizu ult. But remember that now we're going to have Shoutier's ult effect in hand as well. And we actually would have already been able to use it once anyways, so oh well. So Shoutier is going to lower his magic resistance by 15%. Albedo is going to increase our attack by 5%. And then the Ainz nuke will come in, and we'll make sure to turn these back on, since we didn't look at the alts, these 3 alts last time. So Shoutier first, Albedo second, Ainz third. And we'll get all 3 in the video. Shoutier's ult is horribly basic looking. Like, yeah, there's a lot of bats, and you have the Purifying Lance, but that's about it. Purifying Javelin, sorry. Javelin. 331, alright, cool. Albedo. I mean, neither of them have the weakness strike buff that Shizu put on, otherwise they would have done a lot more damage, and they were not EX alts either, otherwise it would be double what you just saw, so 331 would have been 662, and then Albedo would have done 400k, and now Bone Daddy Ainz is going to come in. So now he has the 5% attack buff, the 15% magic down, alongside all of his buffs, the 9 stacks of Rimuru, the 16 stacks of Despair, double Demon Lord Strike, and we do 4.8 million, which sounds really good, but, you know, just knowing from personal experience on numerous tests that I can do upwards of 7.5 million damage by simply taking out Albedo and Shoutier really nails it home about the usefulness of those 2 units. But this is the full Overlord team showcase, and we definitely did showcase all of them being used, for maximum value, that is, minus 1 Stack of Despair, the most damage I could do in 8 turns. Unless we take the 40% charm off of Rimuru and put like a damage charm on, like a crit damage charm, but I don't know if we're going to get less stacks than that on, to offset for the 8% extra crit damage. I don't really know, but that sounds like a science video for next time. So there is the full Overlord team running against Inferno 3. Plenty of damage, plenty of overkill. No boss has ever had more than, well, this is the highest HP boss we've ever had, is 2.7 million, and we annihilated that with Ainz, so definitely can do a lot of damage. Could always do more, though. But let me know what you guys think. That's it for me. Take it easy, and I will see you all later.